Melissa Ainsworth, and I'm Caroline Ainsworth's mother. Caroline has cerebral palsy, which is a birth injury. When Caroline was little, we had a very hard time finding toys for her that she could actually play with. There were many things that she was interested in, but she didn't have the motor skills to be able to play with them. Her hands, her wrists, and her range of motion, or the amount that she could move her arms, was very limited. So it was very difficult to find toys. So I'm really excited that you guys are interested in building toys for children who have cerebral palsy. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what things you've come up with. So Caroline and I have put together this little video to help you understand what somebody with cerebral palsy might experience when they're trying to play with toys.
My favorite toys when I was young were baby dolls and sports equipment.
So Caroline, what frustrated you about toys when you were little?
What frustrated me about toys when I was little is I could not dress the dolls when I played with them, or I couldn't pick up the sports equipment when it fell on the ground.
So Caroline has a lot of difficulty with range of motion in her wrists and hands. She can hold her hands flat, but she has a difficult time turning them over. She has to actually move her entire arm to turn her hands over. And as you can see, she can't get them flat and out and down on the table. Most people can turn their hands over while they lay flat on the table. Caroline has to lift them up and actually use her arms to turn her hands over because she doesn't have wrist action. Caroline's limited range of motion in her wrists and hands makes it difficult to do things like she mentioned earlier, like dress her dolls. So she's going to demonstrate putting a vest on this doll. The doll is unstable. It moves around, and that makes it hard for her to put that vest on. If the doll had a more stable base, she might be better able to do this.
She's got too much hair.
While she managed to get the vest on the doll, the little hooks are very tiny for her to try to maneuver. And again, because the doll is not stable, that makes it very hard. As far as textures and materials, you want to think about things that are easy to grasp. For example, when this ball is partially deflated, it makes it easier for Caroline to pick up because it gives her a handhold. Likewise, things that fit in her hand are also easier for her to pick up. Materials that are a little bit spongy, a little bit rubbery, and give a good grip are also good bets to go with. Sometimes it can be very hard for people with CP to use their hands to pinch and grasp small items. For example, this clip, Caroline is going to demonstrate the difficulty she has with attaching it to the side of this wooden box. It's a fairly light clip, it's easy to grasp, but she still has difficulty grasping it and lining it up to where she can actually attach it. Okay? And the next thing she's going to demonstrate is she's going to demonstrate using these tongs to try to pick up these marbles and put them in the roof of that house. This is going to be very challenging for her because of spatially. It's difficult for her to figure out how to move those tongs, and it's also very hard for her to maneuver them. So you might want to think about the difficulty somebody with cerebral palsy might have with small items or with pinching and grasping. What happened, Caroline?
It fell on the floor.
And what would happen now?
I can't pick it up, so someone has to pick it up for me.
Yeah, so that's another good point. Little loose parts that can get away or fall on the floor are not a good idea.
And like the ball, for instance.
When Caroline was little, this was one of the few toys that she was able to play with. It has a very sturdy base, so it's not easy to knock over. That's really important when you're designing something for kids who have cerebral palsy because they don't always have really good motor control. So whatever toy it is must have a nice stable base that can't be knocked over. Also, the little sphere that Caroline's holding in her hand was small enough that she could grasp it even as a small child, and because this toy is not too tall, even as a small child, with her limited range of motion, she could still reach the top to put the sphere in the top of the toy and push it down. It was easy enough that even with her limited motor skills, she was able to play with this toy.
Where'd it go?